I'm going to do just a short video because I've gotten quite a few emails and mail messages that I was pro Meghan in the last video that I uploaded about being untouchable. Anybody who's been viewing my videos knows that I'm not pro Meghan at all. I am pro monarchy. That case that I was making was that those are the how do you say those are the arguments Meghan Markle and Harry would use to defend their position, which are actually very valid. You know, if I were in her place, I would say, wait a minute. But Sarah has been caught doing criminal behavior. I mean, what Sarah, the Duchess of York, did is actually criminal behavior, which is publicly, it was videotaped and released to the public. That is criminal behavior. That's a criminal act to peddle or traffic influence for money and for large amounts of money, abuse of trust. And I mean, and she has been merching her ass off all over the place. And now she's doing it even more. She even founded her company for the first time called Duchess Inc. So I was just thinking, if I were Meghan Markle and Harry, these are the arguments that I would use to defend myself. What I do find is that the reason why they should be stripped of their titles, it's because they took it too far. Just like with any abuse, you know, I guess the royal family, the current royal family, they have been testing the waters to see how far or how much they can get away with. Prince Charles, he has had the Metropolitan Police involvement in removing letters to two known pedophiles and his connections with him. That's actually illegal. So, and I mean, we don't know other illegal stuff that's been going on. And Prince Charles has been marching around. The only difference that we have here is that yes, they were taking advantage of the roles, but they were also giving back. They were keeping their public roles. They were doing things. They were doing the job basically. Whereas Harry and Meghan took it a step too far. It's like, we're not gonna do the role, but we want all the privileges. They took it a step too far. They still have all the privileges. I was reading Prince Harry's speech in Sainte Valley before he left, where he said he wanted to keep working for her, representing the royal, the Queen and country without public funding. But he was being very sneaky about it because he wanted to continue having the 95% funding from the Duchy of Cornwall, which is indirectly from the taxpayers. So, and he wanted to do that to keep the privileges and justify his ties and links to the monarchy in order to have other doors open and to give himself and the hustler credibility. So should the titles be stripped? Definitely, because they took it too far. They took it too far. So if the royal family allows this to be the new norm, which is you don't have to do any work, but you're going to have all the privileges, you're still going to be on our website, because Harry to this day still on the working members of the royal family website alongside with Meghan. And it still says that Harry represents the Queen and her values. So all the things that Harry is doing, and by extension Meghan, represent the Queen. They reflect back on the Queen. So they have to do something about it. They have to, because it is clear that if allowed, if also the public allows this, if the Queen does not do anything and the public allows it, that is being complicit, and that's basically accepting it. So yeah, the Crown does have to do something. Now again, the Windsors are not the only noble family. The monarchy, the crown, can be occupied by any family of noble birth. So you have 25 other families. You have that beautiful other duke, you know, the one that's a billionaire. And he's, you know, he works, he's an upstanding guy. You know, people are just used to the Windsors. But remember, the crown is a position, it's not a person. Prior to Queen Elizabeth, you know, it was her father. Prior to her father was the other king, you know. And these are positions that are occupied by families. So maybe that's another thing to do, to vote among the noble families who could occupy the throne. It doesn't have to be the current family. And again, people, when they want to, they adhere to the letter of the law. So there, a lot of people are clinging to the fact that, well, it's written that, the laws of succession, that when the queen dies. But wait a minute, for many centuries, there have been fights. Other families have taken over the crown. We're in a much more modern world, so maybe it doesn't need to be a fight, but it can be named by Parliament that the Windsors are removed as the current people occupying the throne. It could be another family put in place. There should be laws about that. It's, when Queen Elizabeth died, personally, I don't think Charles meets any of the requirements to be a king. His ties to those two pedophiles that we know of, it's quite a serious thing, because to this day he believes in them and he still supports them and defends them. So just based on that, can you imagine having a pedophile be your marriage counselor? I mean, and Princess Diana told him that she felt creeped out by him. And he called her paranoid and crazy, and, she was being mean. Yeah, so let's not forget about that. But what I'm saying is I wasn't defending Harry and Meghan Markle, but they do have grounds to say, listen, we are not the worst in the royal family, which is true. The problem that they have is that they want to take it a step further. I mean, they are the drop that, that made the glass of water. It's the last drop, basically, to have the whole thing spilled. So they have taken the abuse a step further. Now they feel entitled to the privileges without the work. They feel entitled to have to not be held to the same laws. They feel entitled to break laws. They feel entitled not to disclose information required by everybody, even the royals themselves. And this is why they have to be stripped of their titles. And no, my previous video was not advocating for them. But if you know what I mean, again, one thing, they didn't want privacy. When Meghan Markle said in that interview or whatever it was that she didn't know about tabloids, what she should have said, or what she was actually trying to say, is that for many years, she was desperately trying to get into any tabloid, and she could never get into any tabloids. That's why she wasn't in any of them. And she never got the attention of them, because nobody cared about her. So now that she got into the tabloids, it's not the kind of actions that she wanted, because unfortunately, all of her lies and her hustling is so transparent. You can't tell people not to call you a liar. So she is lying there, right there, when she says she didn't know about tabloids. What the right thing to do would be, I didn't know, but they didn't want me. And now that they want me, I want them to say that I'm nice and pretty, but she's not. She's an aging, failed hustler actress, who got another guy, and they're both the same, absolutely both the same. Harry, right now, what you're seeing about Harry is the real one, the one that Buckingham Palace wouldn't let anybody see. And we haven't even seen the tip of it all. I mean, there's a lot more worse than that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So no, I wasn't advocating for Meghan Markle. You guys have a good night.